Good afternoon, students. Welcome to your political science class. Today we are going to begin with the second chapter of your book, that is Rights in the Indian Constitution. But before beginning the chapter, students, let me give you a very important information. This time chapter 1, that is Why and How and Philosophy of the Indian Constitution, has been merged with the Rights in the Indian Constitution. Okay. But as the first chapter itself is very lengthy, we are going to do the chapters separately. Okay. So, rights in the Indian Constitution. We have already done a part of this chapter related to fundamental rights in the first chapter. So, the latter part we are going to do in the second chapter. Okay. So, let us begin now. At first, what are rights? What are rights? Rights are the opportunities or the basic requirement which are required for the enrichment of a human personality. You can say that they are opportunities. Required for enrichment of human personality. Okay. Now, these rights are ensured by the society and they are protected by the constitution. Okay. Now, rights can be classified into two categories. What are they? Ordinary rights and fundamental rights. The classification of the rights is ordinary rights and fundamental rights. Okay. So, what are fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the basic rights that are required, or that are, you can say, they are fundamental for the governance of any country. Okay, you can say that fundamental rights are the basic rights that are fundamental for the governance of any country. Now, these fundamental rights, they are guaranteed to us by the constitution. Okay, they are guaranteed to us by the constitution, and these fundamental rights are protected by the state. It is a promising right to all the individual. Now, amending or changing this fundamental right is not an easy task. It requires an amendment in the constitution itself. Okay, you can also say that these fundamental rights are protected by the Indian judiciary, or you can also say that the Supreme Court of India is the custodian of the fundamental rights. No other organs of the government can infringe, or by any means they cannot infringe or they cannot affect these fundamental rights. Okay, these are the basic rights which are required for human development. Okay, and they are guaranteed to us by the constitution. Okay, now next comes ordinary rights. What are ordinary rights? Now, these ordinary rights are the legal rights that are protected by the ordinary law of the state. What did I say? They are the ordinary legal rights that are protected by ordinary law. Okay. Now, this kind of ordinary rights are subjected to change. Okay. They can be changed by through ordinary lawmaking in the legislature also. Now, this ordinary rights are not guaranteed to us. Okay. Supreme Court is not the custodian of this ordinary rights. Okay. They are subjected to ordinary lawmaking and they can be changed by normal ordinary laws passed in the legislature or through the ordinary lawmaking in the legislature. Okay, and they are also protected by the ordinary laws. Okay, now these rights are not guaranteed to us. This is the difference between fundamental rights and ordinary rights. Fundamental rights are guaranteed to us by the Constitution, whereas ordinary rights are not guaranteed to us by the Constitution. Supreme Court is the guardian or the custodian of fundamental right, whereas ordinary lawmaking body are the custodian of this ordinary rights. Next is the fundamental rights can be changed only by amending the Constitution, whereas ordinary rights can be changed by ordinary lawmaking process in the Indian legislature. Is that clear? Now we will move on to Bill of Rights. Bill of Right. What is Bill of Right? See students, a democracy always ensures that there are certain rights that should be given to the individual, every individual rather, and everyone should equally enjoy those rights. Okay. So, to prevent exploitation in enjoying such fundamental rights, a charter is maintained, and in that particular charter, the rights of every individual are clearly enlisted so that none of the person are deprived of their fundamental rights, and that particular charter is called Bill of Rights. Okay, you can say that a charter where the rights of an individual is enlisted is called Bill of Rights. Okay. Actually, student, this Bill of Rights issue was first taken up in the year 1992 in New Delhi during the Asian Games. Actually, during that time, the working condition of the laborers were very poor, and not only that, they were also underpaid. Okay, so they filed a petition against the contractor to the Supreme Court, and after that Supreme Court issued this Bill of Rights where every individual should be provided with their individual fundamental right, so that there should not be any case of violation of fundamental right. Okay, now next we will move on to the significance. First significance is the fundamental rights are mentioned in the part 3 of the Constitution, and they are enforceable to the court of law. Part 3 of the Indian Constitution states that the fundamental rights are enforceable to court of law. This is the first significance. What about the second significance? The fundamental rights, they helps in human development. Not only that, they also helps the individual to showcase their hidden talent. Okay, they helps to develop human development, and showcase hidden talents. Okay, so this is the second significance. Now, what is the third significance of the fundamental rights? Third fundamental right, significance of fundamental right, they reveals the unity of the country. Unity of the country. Okay. So, what is the fourth significance of fundamental right? It ensures civil liberties to every individual or every citizen without any discrimination. They ensures civil liberties to every individual without any discrimination. Without any discrimination. Okay, so these are the significance of the fundamental rights. Now we will study about the nature of the fundamental rights. The first and most important nature is they are comprehensive. Okay, now in our constitution, part 3 of the constitution from article 12 to 35 guarantees as the fundamental rights. Okay, what did I say? Part 3 article 12 to 35 guarantees as the fundamental rights. Next is it has reasonable restrictions. Reasonable restrictions. Now, what do you mean by reasonable restrictions? See students, these fundamental rights are not guaranteed to us without restrictions. They are guaranteed to us with certain restrictions, keeping in mind the minority interests, okay, or the backward sections of the society, so that every individual gets justice in the society. Keeping that in mind, these fundamental rights are provided to us with certain restrictions, or you can say with certain reasonable restrictions. Now, third nature is they are negative. They are negative in nature. How come they are negative in nature? They may not be negative for us, they may not be negative for the citizens, but they act negatively for the state or for the government. Okay, how does it act negatively for the government? It provides certain restrictions on the government. Okay, now government cannot rule over the state arbitrarily. They have to rule over the people, keeping in mind or providing the people with those particular fundamental rights. Okay, now next nature is justiciable. See students, the fundamental rights that are provided to us, they are justiciable. How come they are justiciable? Actually, Article 32 to Article 226, it states that these fundamental rights are guaranteed to us. They are justiciable to us. And if in that case, if any person faces the violation of fundamental rights, in that case the particular person can definitely move on to the Supreme Court or to the State High Court. Okay, and file a case about violation of fundamental rights. Then the court utilizes its writs jurisdiction and looks into the matter. So in this way, the fundamental rights are justiciable. The next nature is amendment. Okay, or you can say amendable. Okay. Now, the fundamental rights are amendable or changeable. Article 368 of the Constitution, it states that the rights mentioned in the fundamental rights can be amended. Okay, the fundamental rights mentioned in the Constitution, they can be amended, they can be changed. Certain rights are there, they can be changed through ordinary lawmaking, whereas the major fundamental rights can be changed by passing a vote of 2/3 majority in the parliament. They can be definitely changed. Next is, they are suspendable. When are they suspendable? Fundamental rights, your fundamental rights can be definitely suspended during the national emergency. Whenever your country is at the stake of war, during that time, your fundamental rights gets violated. So, these are the six natures of your fundamental right. What are they? They are comprehensive in nature. Okay, they have reasonable restrictions. They are negative in nature for the state. They are justiciable, they are amendable, and they are also suspendable. Okay, is that clear? So these are the nature of your fundamental rights. Okay. See students, our constitution guarantees us 6 basic fundamental rights. What are the 6 basic fundamental rights? First is right to equality. Second is right to freedom. Third is right against exploitation. Fourth is right to freedom of religion. Fifth is cultural and educational right. And sixth is right to constitutional remedy. So these are the 6 fundamental rights that are guaranteed to us by our constitution. Now, one by one, we are going to study these fundamental rights in details. At first, what is right to equality? Right to equality states that every individual is equal in the eye of law. Okay, there should not be any discrimination in the people, or there should not be any discrimination in the people, okay, living in similar condition. Okay, all are equal in the eyes of law, and everyone is provided with equal justice without discriminating their caste, creed, gender and religion. And the right to equality also ensures equal opportunity for all. It prohibits any sort of discrimination. Okay, now next we will move on to right to freedom. Before moving on to right to freedom, let me tell you that this right to equality, it comes under Article 14 to 18. Now, next, right to freedom, it comes under Article 19 to 22. Okay. Now, what does right to freedom states? Right to freedom provides us few basic freedom. Now, what are those basic freedom? First is freedom of speech and expression. Okay. Second is we Indians are free to travel in any part of India. Okay. Third is we have the freedom to move and settle to any part of India peacefully. Fourth is we have the freedom to assemble peacefully anywhere. Fifth is we also have the power, or we also have the freedom to form any association or union. Okay, and next is we have the power to, or we have the freedom to take up any occupation or any profession according to our choice. So these are the basic freedom that right to freedom provides us. Okay, now right against exploitation. is mentioned in Article 23 and 24 of the Constitution. Now, what does Article 23 states? Article 23 states that we are bound to provide public service. If we are called to do so, we are bound to provide any public service. This is an exceptional law in our Indian Constitution. Okay, or this is our exceptional right. We are free to provide any public service. Okay, we have the right to provide public service, rather you can say. Next is Article 24. What does Article 24 states? Article 24 states prohibition of child labor. This is a freedom, or this is a right in the Indian Constitution. Prohibition of child labor. What does prohibition of child labor means? The Article 24 states that any children below 14 years of age are prohibited from working in any hazardous area. Hazardous area means either in factory sites or any mining areas. Okay, they are prevented or they are prohibited from working in those areas, especially children below 14 years. And what does Article 23 states? This is an exceptional right in our Indian Constitution. It states that we are free to provide any public service. Okay, so here goes your Article 23 and 24. Next comes the right to freedom of religion. Article 25 to 28 provides the freedom of religion. Or you can also say that Article 25, 26, 27, 28 provides us the right to freedom of religion. Now, what are these rights? The first is, we the citizens of India have the right to practice any religion according to our choice. There is no hard and fast rule on us. We are free to follow any religion according to our choice. This is the first right. Second is, there is no tax that is imposed on the practice of any religion. The government cannot charge any taxes on the practice of any religion. Third is, the government has banned the spreading of religious instruction specifically in the educational institution, in schools and colleges, in any other educational institutions. You cannot be provided with any sort of religious instructions. That has been banned by our government. So this is what right to freedom of religion is all about. Okay, and yes, one more thing, and that is, you can practice any sort of religious affair without any chaos. Okay, that is another right that is provided to us by the Constitution of India. Next comes your cultural and educational right. So Article 29 and 30, they provides us this cultural and educational right. So what does cultural and educational right signifies? It signifies that we are free to protect our culture, our script and our language. Or you can also say that we are free to follow our own culture, our language and our own script. This is the first right that is provided under this right, cultural and educational right. And Article 30, it states establishment of any educational institution. We can establish, or we are free to establish any educational institutions. Okay, now next or last comes right to constitutional remedy. Right to constitutional remedy is guaranteed to us by Article 32 of the Indian Constitution. Now, what does Article 32 of the Indian Constitution states? Article 32 of the Indian Constitution provides us a right to constitutional remedy. Now, this right to constitutional remedy, it acts as a protector for all these fundamental rights. How does it protect all these fundamental rights? Actually, students, right to constitutional remedy, it states that if any of your fundamental rights are violated, then under Article 226, you can move on to any of the High Court or to the Supreme Court. In that case, the Supreme Court or the High Court utilizes their writs. What do they utilizes? They utilizes their writs. These are the special powers of the court that they uses in protecting the fundamental rights. Okay, once you move on to the Supreme Court if your fundamental rights are violated, or once you move on to the High Court if your fundamental rights are violated, then what happens? The Supreme Court or your state high court, they utilizes this, their writs jurisdiction, okay, and they tries to provide you justice. Okay, so these are the 6 basic fundamental rights that are guaranteed to us by our constitution. Okay, now in my next video I shall discuss with you about the directive principles and the difference between fundamental rights and the directive principles. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.